Good evening and namaskar, millennials and millennials at heart. How are you doing this evening? Do you have passports? Okay. This is the first question I have to ask because I have a movement to give the passport to 1.2 billion people of India. That's my mission right now. And I'm not really very close to it. What you see on the screen is my mother's passport. What you see there is her thumb impression. When I saw it first in 1986, when she came to visit me in Japan, and I was taking her passport and handing over it to the immigration people, and I saw, just opened by chance and saw this image. It was a very emotional moment for me. But more important than that was this feeling that I turned the page, saw the image of, India, Satyamev Jayate, and I said, oh, if you have a passport, then even if you can't read, write, you belong to absolutely, a remote rural area, you can't speak a language other than maybe Marathi, Telugu, Tamil, you still can travel and cross the distances. You can go across all the boundaries. That is the power of passport. Passport is something that can empower you. So that's why today is not my journey, it's the journey. Generally we all travel, but it is the journey of the passports. You will be interested, and I'm sure many of you who don't have the passport will be encouraged to take the passport. Well, it's very interesting to think that, well, a few hundred years back, or rather 150 years back, there was no concept of passport as such. I don't know whether it is a part of the barriers that we created or the freedom that we have allowed ourselves. But there was a time when people moved like maybe animals, like butterflies, birds, or fish. But as the world came closer, more interaction started, there was a need for identity. 1414, that was supposed to have been the first reference to passport. King V of England enacted an Act of Parliament, 1414. Then it took how many years for the passport to come to India? Exactly 500 years. 1914, we had our first passport through the Indian Defence Act, or India Defence Act of 1914. In 1920, we passed the first. We were, of course, not independent then, and still we could have passports, but they were meant more for control rather than facilitation. So that is 1920, we started the journey of passport. Passport was, as you know, and still remains by and large, a kind of a symbol of belonging to the elite, belonging to the higher society, belonging to the privileged society. It's slowly changing. Now we have more interesting journey. In 1959, we opened 5 offices in India: Delhi, Mumbai, Chennai, Calcutta, and one more, imagine, Nagpur. From 5 offices in 1950s, now we have come in 2000, go ahead, and 2012, we had 77 offices. 2014, some more. 2016, we had 93 passport offices. And today, we have 308, as of today, new passport offices working from all over the country. We had approximately 2,697 personnel, or number of people that were approved under the original scheme when the passport office in India was established. And I'm happy to say that we still have the same number of people working for us, even though we are producing many more passports right now. You will be quite amazed. This is number of applications processed every year. From 2013-14, you can see 2016-17, there's a growth of almost 38%. In last year, 2016-17, we issued 1.17 crore passport. What it means, I'll come and tell you later. This is what you see, number of services rendered. That means passport are processed and number of services rendered. Last year, we rendered 1.15 crore plus passport services in the country. This is almost 42% rise from the base year of 13-14. I have been in this game for the last 2.5 years. 85% of the passports in the country are now processed in 7 days. 85% of the passports. Sometimes, I'm sure many of you have experienced, you come out of the passport office and you get an SMS saying that, oh, your passport has gone for printing. By the time you reach home, perhaps, you get a SMS saying that, yes, the passport is being dispatched. And lo and behold, you go and second or third day in your house, what you do is you get that parcel from the post and passport is in your hand. That is the story that is evolving right now, not quite complete. There is something called Tatkal Passport. Tatkal means you should get it immediately. How do you get it? By submitting certain documents. And on this, now today, 13% passports in 13-14 were being issued. We have reached 16-17, 37% of the passports are given on the same day, whatever applications we receive, and 94% passports are being given in 3 days. Kind of a small but evolving revolution, I would say. There was a time when each of us had a sad story to tell about how we got our passport or how we could not get our passport. People would actually weep. There were a number of reasons. Bureaucratic hurdles, very difficult documentation requirement. People had to travel. They had to go back to their hometowns again to correct the documents. Generally a very, and despite that, you will have a police verification which says the person does not exist. How did he apply? But I know adverse police verification has been a common reason for not issuing passports. Some of the numbers that I would like to tell you. Every day, 70,000 plus passports are processed in the passport offices. Every day, 15,000 hours plus is the work being done. We have a call center in 17 languages. Every day, we receive 21,000 calls in those call centers. 1,25,000 SMSs are sent from our system to the people who apply for the passport. And how many hits do we have every day? Every day we have only 20 million, that is 2 crores of hits on our passport portal. This is something I think we can all, being Indian and always blaming our bureaucratic system and the government system, can actually feel proud of, because it belongs and it relates to every person, every citizen in the country. Today, we can say that we are opening passport office almost everywhere. What is our objective right now? To open a passport office in the distance of every 50 kilometers in the country. What it also means is every Lok Sabha constituency will have at least one passport office. Have you looked around in the recent past and seen the newspapers? How many places the new passport centers have been opened? Maybe being in Pune, it's not always easy to understand what's happening outside. You just give me the names of the districts around Pune and I'll tell you that Ahmednagar has a passport center now. Aurangabad has a passport center. Kolhapur has a passport center. Satara has a passport center. Sangli has a passport center. Solapur has a passport center. Beed has a passport center. Nanded has a passport center. Aurangabad has passport center. Nashik was already having a passport center. Mumbai was already. This is not a unique phenomena that you see only in Maharashtra. This is in the entire country. The exact replication of this is going on right now. Whether it is Jhalawar or Junjunu, whether it is Kashmir, Jammu Kashmir, whether it is Tamil Nadu, whether it is northeastern states. We have covered all the northeastern states already. And we're going everywhere. Now we are mapping the country, mapping the Lok Sabha constituencies, mapping where we have reached, and we're trying to cover in a very speedy manner the remaining parts of the country. And imagine, we have not added a single additional person to the system. How did we achieve this magic? There were post offices. They are still there. We have stopped utilizing them. We don't go as often as we used to go. I remember the days in my village, that kind of excitement was there. That is unfortunately lost because we have become TEDx generation. We have become Twitter generation. We have become Facebook generation. And we have become whatnot generation, Instagram. We have become an instant generation. So we saw an opportunity in this. We saw there is a lot of space available in the post offices in the country. We approached them. We said that you have got post offices and a lot of space everywhere in the country. Why don't you give us some? We'll also utilize your manpower to the extent it is possible. And now, in the last 1 year, we started this movement sometime on 25th of January 2017. And in the last 1 year alone, till today, we have opened 215 new passport centers all over the world. And tomorrow you go anywhere and you will perhaps see the first thing in the new town, small town, is the passport center being run in the local office. These are some of the snaps that you see here in different places. I have been to almost 22 states in the last 2 years to open the passport offices, and hopefully I'll continue this journey for the near future. We have also started something called Student Connect. Millennials must enroll themselves into the passport movement, because this is something we are aiming at, that the youth must have. Now that we have created infrastructure, now that we have created access, now that we have made the process very simple, we must have more and more people coming and taking the passport. So we have done the expansion in terms of number. We have done this kind of a campaign throughout the country. My system has reached to almost 50 lakh students all over India, and we continue to do that almost on a day-to-day basis by sending messages. Personally, I have gone and addressed the universities and schools and colleges all over the country. We also on the, of course, new age media, that is whether it is Facebook, whether it is Twitter, whether it is other ways in which we connect. And we actually experience it every day. We rescue people all over the world. We give them passports all over the world. So we are actually passing through a very, very exciting journey. What have we done? How were we able to achieve this? Not really very using any rocket science. We just sat down, looked at the rules and regulations, and decided, oh, this all has become outdated. Make it simple, make it easy, make it transparent, make it fast. So we almost changed all the rules. So it was 2 years back, it was impossible for a single parent to have a passport. Why? They were compulsorily forced to write the name of the ex-spouse. Now, whether the single parents or their children, children don't have to write the name of both the parents, and the parents, single parent doesn't have to write the name of the former spouse. In fact, spouse is an option now. You don't have to mention if you don't want to write. We also done things like police verification. It used to be really very, very tough. It remains tough to some extent because there is large-scale ignorance about it. Police is now not supposed to visit your houses. It is not supposed to ask you awkward questions. It is not supposed to go and ask your neighbors whether so-and-so stays here. Police has to only check from their own record whether you have a criminality record and whether is there any doubt for them to believe that you're not an Indian citizen. As simple as that. There are things like date of birth. So many difficult conditions in having a date of birth certificate. We simplified that. Annexures have been removed The need for notarization has been removed. The middlemen, the brokers, and the exploitators, they were all thrown out of the system. Now, frankly, if you have these 3 documents, what are they? PAN card, Aadhaar card, and your election card. If you have these 3 documents, you can actually get your passport almost like a Tatkal. Police verification will keep on happening at its own speed. We are not really dependent on that. We also did an interesting thing. There is something called a character verification certificate by government gazetted office for you to get Tatkal services. And what we used to do, when we used to get those verification certificates, we would call that government officer and ask, have you done this? So verify the verification. That was the kind of system that we were applying. We have removed that too. So it's very simple now. So why this is so important? We got lots of prizes and we have won a lot of accolades with us. TCS has also won a lot of accolades because they are our partner. This is what the celebrities say: wonderful and pleasant experience, congratulations, your favorite Deepika Padukone. Fantastic facility, thanks for everything, keep up the good work. Common man, what does he say? Really impressed with the passport seva, now we get passport in just 7 days, this is called good governance. So we have come to an entirely different era so far as passport is concerned. Why it is important? I take you back to my mother's photograph. I always thought that it gave her identity. It gave her the dignity which she would not have got otherwise. I remember having met a Palestinian in Damascus, and I asked him, what is most valuable to you? He was a displaced person for 40, 50 years. And he took out his old passport and showed it to me, and he said, well, this is Palestinian passport. I'm keeping it after 40 years. It is dead long time back. It is expired, but it is very important. Passport means dreams. You can build your dreams. You can realize your dreams. You can fly anywhere in those dreams and actually make flying your habit if you have the passport. Passport also means progress because you can cross all the barriers, leave your country, come back to your country freely. Passport is dream, passport is wings, passport is progress, passport is identity, passport is your dignity. Actually, if you have the passport, you can pass through an airport, you can pass through a land port, you can pass through a seaport. Indeed, if you have a passport, you can pass any port in life. Thank you.